hey, what's going on with that? And Rich goes, it's the greatest weekend you'll ever have. It's the most fun you'll ever have. The people are great. And so Chris was like, okay, this is like, and that's the word that gets around LA and New York.
Yeah, Josh Hopkins last night in the what do you call it, the hospitality room. I'm like, man, Josh, thanks so much for coming back again. He's like, are you kidding? It's my summer camp. I look at this weekend as my summer camp. And another question, or another answer to what's some favorite parts for us privately, it's the bus rides to and from places, because we all are here with a lot of really funny people, and so just letting everybody do their thing on the bus. We should actually auction off a bus ride, and just that's a great idea. A person just ride the whole weekend with us to different.
They just can't have any recording devices.
Yeah, no recording devices.
But they all do say, I mean, really, everyone that comes, and the reason they come back, and everyone says, what's your favorite part of the weekend? And across the board, they all say, come into the hospital. Like being here and meeting the kids and going from room to room, it has an effect on all of us. As well as, also, I think once we started bowling at Pinstripes, it's nice because some of the kids come to Pinstripes and we get to really interact one-on-one in a way that we don't necessarily do at the Royals game, and we don't get to do during the show. So I think that with bowling, it's another thing that's been really terrific since we've added that, is that it becomes a very communal event, and everyone's in the same room.
Yeah, and the kids get to be involved, so that's great. Poker wasn't so kid-friendly.
How did you guys come up with the idea for the t-shirt design?
The good people at Charlie Hustle, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you work for Charlie Hustle?
Is that a planted question?
Is that a planted question?
Do you like them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the color scheme this
Yeah.
year? Cool.
It's fun out to be out in LA, and I like that. We've got so many of these. It's a really nice shirt,
Yeah.
and I'm not just saying that. It's one of the most comfortable T-shirts I have. So I'll wear it often out in LA, and it's fun to run into Kansas City people that are living out there now and go, where do I get one of those? And you're like, bigslickkc.org, and they're sold out. So that's always just registered to mind. But yeah, they're a great design every year, and a different color. So you can literally, for a week and a half, you can wear a different Big Slick T-shirt now.
Well, we have a great team, a great marketing team, and people who volunteer their time, and Dave and our families and Charlie Hustle, and they go to work on this stuff. Like in 2016, we went with an election theme because it was an election year. So it was red, white, and blue, and we had different designs. And this year it's more better.
Mission South.
More, but we should do that.
That's what it is.
That's what
It's
it
green
should.
and gold.
I did,
It's orange, but okay.
No, you're right. It is Shawnee Visit South. Ain't nothing greater than Raider my wife.
Thank you. We got a Viking here, so we're doing our best. Sudeikis is a Viking as well. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking purple. I literally said out loud what my brain was thinking, which was, we need to do a purple theme here. And then I just said it out loud.
Sometimes that happens. But I'm glad you like it. I think you can still get these.
Yes.
You want them?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're available.
Yeah.
Get on there.
BigSlickKC.org?
Yeah, BigSlickKC.org.
They will also be at the block party tomorrow morning
Thank you. Block party tomorrow morning.
and at the Midland tomorrow night.
And the one you're wearing right now, the More Good Big Slick shirt, is very nice. Show them the back. There.
Right there, young lady.
By the way, Dave Schultz, who does so much work.
Dave Schultz.
Dave Schultz. Dave Schultz was my fraternity brother.
Young lady right there. You got
10 years ago.
Oh.
10 years ago.
Did you have a follow-up?
Oh, no.
Okay, young lady back there.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering, since you've all been doing this for 9 years now, what have you learned or taken away from the experience?
I think
Logistics, first of all.
I think some of the things you've heard up here, but I think they still gratitude for the opportunity to be here. I love Kansas City. Kansas City is my home, even though I live in LA, and I stay connected. My family's still here. I love this town. I love this hospital. I love these people. So just gratitude that I get to come back and have the opportunity to be part of Kansas City and to do something positive.
For me, when Paul and Jason and Rob started this, I know when my parents knew had done some commercials, nobody knew who I was or what I was doing. So it was a really neat thing for me to be able to sort of think how cool it was for these guys being from Kansas City that they started something like that, and then for me to go through the progression of no one knowing who I am and knowing what this was, to then having good fortune of being cast on Modern Family, and then them asking me to come as a visitor, and then asking me to join as a group. So that's the progression I've had with it, and that's what I was going to say. Thank God Rob and Paul and Jason love Kansas City, because they started it. So, and I think that's the truth about all of us. We love coming back here, and we love coming back here because it's so trite to say, and it's common to say, but it's the people. People coming back here just makes me miss home.
Well, don't sell yourself short. This is one of the biggest Kansas City fans you're ever going to meet. I mean, this guy loves Kansas City more than anybody I know. So, and we're glad to be part of the team.
But just what we've learned, I guess what a big deal this is to the city, to Kansas City, because now anytime you come back, my three sisters live here, my wife's from here, I'm from a small town in central Missouri, but so I've kind of been adopted, I think. But I've always had cousins and relatives that live here, but I think that's the other thing that I've learned is what a big deal this is to the entire town. Both sides. Missouri and Kansas.
Well done. Very
Thanks.
flexible.
It has been,
Most of them
it
are.
has been interesting to kind of watch it develop, because every time, we're at the airport I'm from New York, always, several people will say, oh, you heading back for Big Slick? And just strangers, and they know about the event.
Yep.
And that started happening in the last few years.
You guys speak real quick to the staff and the doctors here are so important in everything that goes on, and you guys have been able to interact a lot more. Dave, you did a show for them. Can you guys speak to that a little bit?
They're absolute heroes, in my opinion. The work they do is important, we all have careers, we all have, and they're great. But what they do is it's really life and death. It's really the stuff that you dream about. You hope and pray that people like this exist, because if you need them, they're there. The work they do is phenomenal. I'm honored to know them. The first year I came here, actually it was before Big Slick, I came here after a Red Hot Nights. I think it's one of their Valentine's Day fundraisers. I watched them do open heart surgery on a 9-day-old baby. Whereas they told me a year prior that baby would have probably passed. But because of the work they're doing here and the technology and the advances and the research, they were able to save that baby's life. And they're working with it was a robot. It was almost like a robotic thing they were working with, and I was blown away. And this child that they saved that day, is alive today because of this hospital. So, to speak to the doctors and nurses, it doesn't get any better than Children's Mercy Hospital.
Yeah, I have a story. I just wanted to make sure that I got this, because international services. All right. I have just a story about why this place is different maybe than some other places. I have a friend in New York who has another friend who's from Trinidad. In November, her son, who's 15 years old, was diagnosed with leukemia. So my friend Allison said, I'm going to do whatever I can to try and find something out, information, help out in some way, because she wanted to get the best service, best care for her friend's son. So she started calling lots of hospitals, because there's lots of hospitals and lots of information out there. And she knew about Children's Mercy from me, and she's also involved in an organization called Cookies for Kids Cancer. She made calls to about 10 different hospitals, left messages. She didn't say that she knew me or knew about Big Slick, but she called Children's Mercy. She called in international services. There's a woman named Pamela Frank who works at this hospital. She said, I want you to know, one hospital called me back, and called me back immediately. And it was Children's Mercy, and it was a woman named Pamela Frank. I explained what was going on with this child. She said, I'm going to help you out in whatever way I can, try and get you as much information as possible. They spoke several times. Allison Schlanger, my friend, never told Pamela. Pamela still doesn't know. But she said, Children's Mercy Hospital, I am blown away with how much they care. And she just couldn't believe it. Now, this boy is now in New York getting some care, but she's keeping in touch with Children's Mercy because, you know, it's an incredible place. And that is another thing that sets this place apart from any other place. I also think it's the spirit of Kansas City. You know, there really is a friendliness and a care here that I find exists here and not in other places.
Well said, that's awesome.
To Pamela Frank.
We have time for one more question.
I was gonna ask if you've known of anything specific that Children's Mercy has purchased as far as equipment or whatever from the money that you guys have raised.
Well, I know that like sorry, I'm hogging this.
No, you're fine.
I just remember several years ago, there was a goal to get some beds. We needed some beds, some 40, 50 beds. And I remember coming back the following year and saying, these beds were bought from Big Slick. And certain rooms, and that was something tangible. It's an incredible thing to see where your money is going. And that's the first thing that came to my mind.
I remember the first couple of years, the first maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 years of Big Slick, the money went to kind of the Children's Mercy General Fund. And then we started having deeper conversations with the hospital, and it was determined that our efforts might be best served in the pediatric cancer center, the pediatric cancer center. And so that's when our money, I think the Big Slick money started going into that. And we go up and you see the floor and you see their center up there, or some of the wing, I guess. And you look around and you realize it's, I don't know the technical term of the equipment, but they can say this, you know, this parent room, or this child play room, or this just patient room, or this piece of equipment. We're part of, you know, this Big Slick organization helped do that, and so that is a good feeling.
Any burning desires?
Yeah.
Any question? Anyone who said, I have to get asked this question? No?
Do you guys stay in contact with the children that you see? Do they get to write you letters about their progress or anything? Because you mentioned that you see them the next year. Are you able to? Updates?
Unfortunately, I haven't had any correspondence.
Yeah.
You know, but we do see them, and then God willing, the next year they're healthy and we don't see them. You know, but I haven't personally had any. Have you?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to stay in contact with a couple patients, and on both sides of that, one that is continuing to do well, and one that unfortunately passed away this last year, and I posted it out on my Instagram, and I was introduced to him through K-State, football player at K-State, Ryan Mueller, and he was treated here, and he was a fighter, man, 11-year-old guy, and he serves as an example for all of us of why we're here and why we're doing it, and just to try to make as much of a difference as we possibly can without giving ourselves too much credit, but we know it's important, and we hope that it inspires other people to get involved. And this city can be a shining example of 5 guys coming and doing what they can, and then hopefully inspiring other people to get involved, because this is your hospital. We don't live here regularly. This is Kansas City's hospital, so hopefully people will take what it is we do, what is perceived we do, and then run with it and do your own thing in your own life, your own circle.
I've always said that. I've always said that Kansas City Children's Mercy is a jewel, a Kansas City treasure, and we as Kansas Cityans have to take care of it. It's our responsibility. No one else is going to come. Oklahoma City's not going to come in here and help children. We have to take care of Children's Mercy. So I'm glad to see everybody here. Thank you.
Rob tried to ask about the progression, and Dave, I think you guys know that the progression to include the hospital doctors and nurses and staff and everything has really been a progression in time, because at one point, we didn't realize that there wasn't that interaction with you all, and last year you went crazy and really jumped into that by having shows here at the hospital for staff.
Well, yeah, I mean, to speak to your question earlier, about thank God the nurses and the doctors hear that call, that vocation. Like, we decided to go into show business because, that's what the call we got. But it's a wonderful thing to meet the doctors and nurses here and know that they got the calling and that they're here and caring and taking care of those needs. Thank God for that. But yeah, we've definitely try. We were told at one point